Pokemon cards are no strangers to insane price spikes and surges, and newcomers easily fall for common mistakes. That's why in this video I'll be speaking about the 4 most common Pokemon collecting mistakes and how to avoid these common traps. Now at first it may seem a little bit strange that there's such things as mistakes in this kind of hobby, though funnily enough there's actually a lot of lessons to learn when it comes to collectibles, and what seems as just like a little bit of a fun hobby can actually become pretty wild. And throughout this video I'll be walking you through these mistakes, and hopefully you don't need to make these mistakes in the future. So the reason I feel confident in speaking about this is because I've made all the mistakes I'm going to cover in this video, and take this video as a little bit of a wisdom so you don't need to do the same thing. You see, the great thing about when you read books or when you consume media from people who have lived experience is you essentially get to download the information and you get all the lessons that have been learned without the kind of painful experiences. That's why I actually feel this video will be genuinely useful. I mean, Pokemon collecting went through a very transformative shift in the last year alone, and I feel the change is going to continue. Though the first pitfall we need to speak about is avoid buying into whatever is trending. Trends are very common in the hobby, but there's an art in learning how to avoid them. Now here's the thing when it comes to trends or hype trains or what people just, all jump in at the same time. Yes, collecting is enjoyable. Yes, there's always going to be new cards entering the scene, though one thing that you have to get good at, and it is a skill, believe me, this is a skill you need to refine, is when you see a card spike in price really quickly and you really want that card, is to be able to have the ability to pause, stop, look back, and just wait it out. There is so many examples of cards that have spiked so quickly in price and then they start retracing very quickly afterwards. This happens a lot because you have things known as market buyouts, you have market manipulation, you also have a lot of people jumping on like a certain thing just because it's a hot trending topic at the moment, okay? Pokemon cards, especially singles, are super volatile, right? They go up, they go down, and some cards reach new high points in the market and stay there, while others keep going down and then they find new lows in the market as well. One thing that you just want to kind of be aware of is that hype trends and spikes happen because you've got a lot of people collecting, right? The amount of people that are entering the Pokemon hobby each day is enormous, right? So you just get so many new people jumping in, so many people want to try it out, so many people are excited. Especially when you're new and these hype trends happen, it's really easy to see them and just be like, oh, I want to do the same thing. A big example of this was Prismatic Evolution. So, earlier when Prismatic Evolutions first released, everyone was going wild for that set. People were just paying crazy prices. But then if you waited a few months later, you know what happened? A lot of the prices came down. Prismatic Evolutions became a little bit more attainable for the average Joe. And right now as I'm making this video, a lot of Prismatic Evolution chase cards are right now at the lowest point they've ever been in the market. And that's the power of waiting it out and just seeing what happens. Because something that people forget, when a set releases or a card releases, sure, when a set releases, you have a bit of a finite time that you're able to get the sealed product. You might have a few months to buy it, maybe a year that you can get it at somewhat of a reasonable price, and then, sealed product starts climbing in price, historically speaking. Though in terms of singles, they actually stay in the market for a while. Like if I look at a lot of cards from Chilling Reign or a lot of cards from Lost Origin, sure, the real chase cards are super expensive, but if I look at a lot of the trainer gallery cards from Lost Origin, a lot of those are still pretty attainable right now, and it's been 3 years. So that's why even though things can spike in price, knowing how to pause, wait it out, and see what happens is always one of the better decisions you can make. Now also, while speaking about all the aspects of the hobby, I also make these videos for you to be able to keep up to speed with the hobby. Though real talk, something that's even more important than all of this is your sleep, and that's why I'm proud to have partnered with Manta Sleep for this sponsored video. Now, sleep hygiene is becoming a huge topic right now, and for good reason. Research shows it's even more important than most of us realize. Poor sleep affects your decisions and your overall mood. So Manta Sleep actually sent me 2 of their sleep masks to try out. The Manta Sleep Mask Pro and the Manta Sleep Mask Sound. Now, the Pro is awesome if you want complete blackout, 100% light blocking so you can fall asleep faster and also stay asleep. Though the sound version takes it a step further. It's got all the features of the Pro plus built-in Bluetooth speakers so you can listen to calming music, white noise, or whatever helps you drift off into deep sleep. Now, if you want to give one of these sleep masks a try, feel free to use my code on screen for 10% off. All the details are in the description. A huge thanks to Manta Sleep for sponsoring today's video and supporting the channel. Now let's get back into the video. Now, number 2 is a massive problem that new collectors can face, and that is ignoring the condition of the cards you are purchasing. So one thing that's changed within the last year is the preferences of collectors. Quality is now the most important aspect when it comes to purchasing collectibles, and this has changed a lot because back in the day, it used to be just about owning the the card, though now it's all about the quality of the card, and also this applies to sealed product as well. Now this shift has happened quite gradually, but right now it's bigger than ever, right? And we can see that with the price differences between PSA 10 slabs versus singles in the market, right? There has never been such a big price difference between the single raw copy of a card and its PSA 10 counterpart. Now the big reason for this big shift and the big change that's happened is because the quality of the card is so important. One thing that newcomers make is they don't research their cards enough. They don't research the quality of what they are purchasing. If you are gonna buy a modern chase card, and especially, one of the more expensive cards, it's a very good idea to purchase it in a good grade, or at least in the highest quality you can, because you are preserving your future value of the card. It's very interesting how it works, but even the smallest little bend on the card or the tiniest scratch can already decrease the value by huge amount. And it's very common, and I see it a lot, but newcomers, they buy a card and they know it's got a bend or, a bit of a scratch on the card, or it's in bad condition, but they go, oh, it doesn't matter, I'm just gonna buy the card, I'm gonna own that card. Now, if you just want that in your collection and you're gonna keep it in a binder and it's something that is just very personal to you, go for it by all means, no stress, it's fine. If you buy the best quality version of that card and you leave it in a binder, even though you may not be in a position to grade your cards today, maybe in 3 or 4 or 5 years time, you will be able to send that card to get graded. And when you do, it could come back as a PSA 10. What you've effectively done is you've future-proofed the value of your card. Now, if you know how PSA 10 cards work, a raw copy and a card, some PSA 10 versions can be 3 or 4 times more expensive. So not only are you looking after the value of your card today, but you're also looking after the card's value in the future, especially if it comes back in a high quality grade. This is why, especially with those big chase cards, you don't want to cheap out, because it is a bit of a case of buy nice or buy twice. So that's why just look into what you're purchasing. Also, if you're gonna buy an expensive chase card, make sure you really want it as well, because I see so many people just go, oh, I'm gonna buy it. And like I mentioned the point before about the hype trains, people just buy these expensive chase cards and they go really down in price. Now, number 3 is not so much of a mistake or a trap, but it's not forgetting why you started collecting. A lot of us collect for the enjoyment, and when we start, it's such an exciting experience. I mean, every new card that we pull gets added to our binders. Every card we pull is exciting. And then, even the journey of trying to get master sets is awesome. However, as you continue, the love for collecting can fade, and it can be far more drawn into the monetary value of your cards. Though you don't want to lose that love for collecting, and you never want to forget the reason that you started. Like I said, this isn't much of a mistake, but it's something to just keep a note on, because when you start, it's such high energy, man. You are so excited to be collecting again. It's so amazing to have all these cards, researching new packs. And I know those early days, whatever you pull is amazing, because, whether it's a reverse holo or whether it's a full art or whether it's a special illustration rare, you're just happy because you're adding them to your binder and you're just enjoying the experience of collecting. There's something that can shift, and it's something that happens a lot. They don't get excited when they pull full arts anymore. They just want to hit the chase cards. They don't even get excited when they pull a special illustration rare if it isn't one of the top chase cards in the set. They only want the grails. And when that transition happens, it does kind of taint the hobby. Now, the hobby is obviously always going through its own problems, but a big reason why you want to just take it easy, take it slow, and always love what you do is because it is actually much more sustainable that way, and you won't get burnt out as well. One thing that's really cool is to look at certain Pokemon that you love and maybe try start a collection of all those Pokemon and, go through the eras. Or maybe look at a certain illustrator that you love and try collect all the cards that they've created. One of the issues, like I said, is everyone wants grails and chase cards, and it's pretty much chase card or nothing. And while that is amazing and everyone loves their chase cards, you also have to remember why you started. And a big thing for everyone watching, and especially the viewers on my channel, if you do love collecting Pokemon cards and you love, adding your master sets and you love creating those binders, try keep passion there. Now here's the thing, and it probably should be said, the hobby is very expensive at the moment, so I don't blame anyone that cares too much about prices of cards. Like I mentioned before, it's important that if you're gonna buy an expensive chase card, you may as well do it correctly, so that way you preserve its future value. But at the same time, don't just be worried about buying expensive chase cards. If you buy packs to open, enjoy the experience as well, and that way you're not gonna be so heavily focused on just all the value of all the cards that you have. I know it's a little bit harder to say, and especially this advice is always changing because the hobby's always getting more expensive, but again, it's finding that balance and that harmony with collecting that's super important. Now also, another really important thing is also connecting with the Pokemon community. It's very important as you can get multiple opinions, and a great resource is my channel's official Discord server. We have over 10,000 active members, and you can actually just post your TCG TCG pools and ask questions within the community. The server invite is in the video's description. Now, number 4 is understanding that if you missed your boat on a specific product or card, always understand that another opportunity will come by. Now, I've been collecting for a while and new opportunities always come by. Learn that if you miss your boat, just let it go and don't try play catch up. Playing catch up can really cause issues and put you in bigger problems. But through my experience with collecting, there's always another opportunity that comes around. And then when Evolving Skies came out, when the Scarlet and Violet era started, everyone just would look back at Evolving Skies and say, oh, we're never going to get another Evolving Skies. That was peak Pokemon TCG. That was peak Pokemon collecting. Evolving Skies was like 1 in a million set. But you know what came out in 2023? Pokemon 151. And then Pokemon 151 came out and everyone was like, oh, Pokemon 151, it's the next big thing. And now everyone looks back and says, oh, if you didn't get Pokemon 151, it's going to be such a long time until we get another one. And right now it's looking like Prismatic Evolutions is going to shape up to be another Pokemon 151. And then you got Destined Rivals that's released. And we've got this whole new Mega Evolution era that we're entering. It's always coming around. Another opportunity will always be there. When an era starts, the chase cards at the start of an era are not even chase cards by the end of the era. Look at Miriam's Special Illustration Rare or the Iono Special Illustration Rare. None of them are even spoken about anymore, but once upon a time, they were the top chase cards of the Scarlet and Violet era. So that's what I mean. Opportunities are always going to be there. And the best thing about this is just learn to play the long game. Though after all that, there is a question that comes up to the future of Pokemon cards and what is the actual long game at play? And I reveal the answer to that in this video here. Within this video, I go over the 5 lessons I've learned over the journey. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to click the video that's currently appearing on screen. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and I'll see you on the next video.